Hey guys, how's it going? Sean Owen here, and today I wanted to make a quick video about why I decided to go into online marketing, investing, pretty much the entrepreneurial path, right? So, quick backstory is that I'm actually born and raised in Japan. So I grew up in Japan until I was 14, and then my whole family moved to Big Island of Hawaii, which is an island, one of the islands, and then they stayed there, but I moved to Oahu a couple years later, which is where I live currently. But back in Japan, right, growing up until I was 14, I was not in Tokyo or Osaka where a lot of, it's pretty touristy and a lot of foreigners are there. I grew up in Wakayama, which is a countryside of Japan, no tourism happening at all, and my mom's from there. So I grew up there, and because I'm half white, I look a little more whiter than everybody else. I didn't really look like Japanese, right? I may look a little Asian, but from the Japanese perspective, I look different. And because 23 years ago, unlike now, they aren't really used to seeing a lot of foreigners in that area, especially, every time I would go out my house, I would get pointed at from other kids saying, hey, look, to their family, friends, they're like, hey, look, a gaijin, a foreigner over there, look, a white guy, and I got a lot of unwanted attention and that caused me to be shy. But not only that, but, in Japan, fitting in is a big thing, right? Especially in Japan, doing something because everybody else is doing is kind of their culture. And for me, I never fitted in from, the way I looked from, in the beginning. So that's why I never really believed in that mindset. And, from when I was small, I've always wanted to do something different than everybody else is doing, something extraordinary, because, you only live one life, right? And I wanted to, kind of look back and say, I did something, look back and say, I'm proud of accomplishing something. I'm proud that I accomplished something great, and that I didn't follow the crowd, and to do something. So that's kind of how everything started with my whole mindset of wanting to do something, extraordinary. And when I was 12, I started playing basketball, and I'm like, this is it, I'm gonna go professional, so my whole goal was to play in the NBA for about 6 years, and I practiced day and night every single day. I got a lot of injuries, but I just wasn't good enough to go to even college and get a scholarship, so I gave up on that. And after I graduated high school, I almost joined the military. My next big plan was to join the Special Forces in the Air Force. It's called the SEER Specialist, and it was like a survival instructor. But basically, I wanted to do that because it's also really hard to get into. And that was like pretty much the whole reason I wanted to do it. And I was kind of into like survival stuff too. But I changed my mind 2 years later, right before I swear in, because I, wasn't really interested in military or something like that. I basically just wanted to do it because it was hard, right? And not a lot of people can do it. So at that point, I'm like 18, 19. I started, selling Cutco knives as my first job. That's where I got started with sales. Then I got recruited into a multi-level marketing company by my friend. And that's when I learned that there's different ways to make money. It's not just, exchanging hours, exchanging time with money. There's things like passive income where you can, do the work up front one time and you can get paid forever, right? You build systems, build teams, and your money keeps coming in. And so when I found out about that at 18, I'm like, that's it, that's what I want to do. So I started promoting heavily, that multi-level marketing company. I went all in, and then it didn't work. I went through my friends and family, and I didn't make any money. And I went social media. I went online because I pretty much burnt all my relationships offline doing that. So I went online, reaching out to people on Facebook, Instagram, trying to recruit them. It didn't work. So I've spent about 3 years doing that, and I didn't make any money, right? I went back to sales after that. At this point, I'm still living with my parents, so I didn't really have to pay rent or anything. And I went back to selling, getting a sales job. And basically, I was doing door-to-door sales, selling Kirby vacuum cleaners. So I would go door-to-door every day, 6 days a week, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And I'm knocking on doors, trying to sell this vacuum cleaner that's a couple $1,000s by, doing demos, which is cleaning their carpet, showing the product, and explaining how good it is, right? I've only done it for 3-4 months, but I was on track to make about 10 grand a year. So I wasn't making a lot of sales, but I learned a lot about communication and selling in person, and it was an excellent, experience for me. And then I moved out of my parents' house, came to Oahu, which is where I live right now. And this is where, I got a retail sales job and a telemarketing job first because I needed to get some kind of job to pay for rent and my food and everything. But then I quickly after I landed a pretty good job selling timeshare for a big hotel brand over here. And so I've been doing that for the past 3 years now, and I was making about 60 grand a year. Now that I'm only doing 3 days a week part-time, I'm making very little because I don't really hit the commission as a part-timer. But when I was making 60 grand a year, I was saving a lot of money, and that's pretty good money for a 21-year-old kid, right? But still, I kept thinking, I want that passive income, and I wanted to travel the world and, experience all this thing. And I needed that location freedom too, which my job wasn't providing me, right? So one day I looked up online how to make money online. YouTube did actually. And I found videos on, Kindle Publishing and people talking about Kindle Publishing and how it's an amazing way to make money online. For anyone, especially as a beginner, it's really easy to learn, the system and how to do it, and you can really start generating money. So I bought a course, started following it, and I published my first book. A couple days later, I made my first dollar online, and I was like freaking out, I was super excited, like first time making money online, and I'm like, oh my God, this is actually working. So immediately I went to the creator of the course, and I'm like, hey, I really want to be successful in this. How much do you charge for coaching? So he got back to me. He said, I'll charge you $6,000 for 10 sessions. And he had smaller packages too, but that's because I asked for, I said, I want to be making like $1 million a month. I told him that. And so he's like, okay, if you're serious about $1 million a month, 10 sessions, 6 grand. And I'm like, let's do it, right? So I took the mentorship, started following everything, and my income just kept going up and up. And after a year of Kindle Publishing, I've hit my first 10 grand in a month, so $10,000. And it was super exciting. And since then, I haven't dropped below $10,000 a month. And, I got into real estate after that, so now I have $1,200 a month. From real estate, which is actually completely passive. It's amazing. Real estate investments are really, really good. It's just a lot more harder to go into than Kindle Publishing, but it's a great next step after that. And I'm trying to build another business, outside of Kindle too. But the whole point of me telling you this story is, it's even if you're in another business or if you're trying to do something, it's not like, I thought about, making money online, and then I found Kindle as my first business and I became successful, right? I had to go through, selling Cutco knives, MLM for 3 years, door-to-door retail, telemarketing, and then timeshare made me good money. But, literally 4 years of me trying to make some kind of money and failing at it, but those experiences really helped in Kindle Publishing because by learning sales and getting good at it, you understand what makes people want to buy, or what, makes people not want to buy, what's their buying objections, those kind of stuff. So I definitely use that in my Kindle publishing business, learning copywriting, on their title and the description, to make it more attractive, right? So I believe that my book sells a little better because of that. But of course, a lot of it is coming from the course and the mentorship that I got. And I think that's the shortest path to success, is to learn from someone who's done it already. And you just, get the mentorship, they tell you what to do, and you just start following it. That's the shortest way to success. I, really believe in that. And so if you are looking for a mentor, if you're interested in mentorship, I do offer that too right now. So just message me on Facebook, or just send me a email. I'll put both in the description below. But just let me know, I'm here to help. And if you just want to get started with a course, that's totally fine too. I'll have a link of the course that I recommend below as well. But either way, I really want you to not give up, keep going, because it took me 4 years to find this business and finally succeed. So yeah, if you haven't started with any business yet, Kindle publishing, I highly recommend for anyone to start making money online. So that's my story. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.